I say it's been sort of a minute since I've done a LimitsCenter. May 1st of 2026, last time I did a LimitsCenter. Anyways, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Lucas E. Allen 1018 on YouTube and all audio platforms, Lucas E. Allen Show. Like I said, your LimitsCenter podcast, your Wednesday, May 6th of 2026 is today, to say the least. As always, follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Lucas E. Allen 1018. I also say XRs on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And as always, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, hit the like button on today's podcast. Hit the subscribe button if you've done so already. Turn the bell for your uppost notifications when uploads our YouTube channel. And always feel free to leave a comment. Think of my LimitsCenter podcast for your Wednesday, May 6th of 2026, to say the least. Watch on Spotify, do the same thing, leave me a comment, and also a 5-star rating be very nice, as well, to say the least. So as we move on to today's news, man, there's a quite amount of decent to talk about, some minor stuff, some major stuff, honestly. Like, while I'm going to explain some in the second segment today, but let's first discuss Rick Boogs addresses his WWE release to the first thing to be discussed, and believe it or not, people. And what a way to kick off the show, said nobody ever, but still, Rick Boogs is very good, but still. Cool dude. Also, the big story, WWE has tasked with shedding millions in payroll. And why? It's 100% the main reason to blame here is TripleH. He's nobody to blame but himself, and also TKO to a small standard point, honestly. We'll be discussing that. We're just in Hiromu Takahashi, who I believe was an AEW person for a couple of matches, like made for Bandor. Hiromu Takahashi is expected to join WWE. We'll be discussing that. Also, Roman Reigns, the reigning defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion, was pulled from Monday Night Raw in June. The show is due to clerical error. I don't honestly believe that, to a point where we'll discuss that. Also, it's an LA Night, yeah. Or just LA Night, yeah. And Gunther's WWE feud has simply been scrapped. We discuss that and finish off with backstage news on Blake Monroe, the lovely Blake Monroe, who expected to make her Friday Night Smackdown or WWE Friday Night Smackdown debut, to say the least. Discuss it on today's podcast. Go ahead and join me as always on today's your LimitsCenter podcast for your Wednesday, May 6th of 2026 on YouTube, Lucas E. Allen 1018, and all audio platforms, Lucas E. Allen Show. Let's go on today's podcast, man. And starting with, I guess you can say you guessed, I don't think you guessed this though, Rick Boogs addresses his WWE release. Probably most no name discussed in today's podcast, honestly, but still. Rick Boogs is very rock and roll, to say the least. Rick Boogs has revealed that he saw his WWE release coming from being brought back to television with a signature guitar stripped from his character with no clear direction on where things was going to go. Speaking on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Boogs described the moment he realized we're not going back to work out when he returned to WWE programming. When I was brought back, the day of TV, I don't know if people like, oh, where's this guitar? I didn't know that either until the day of. Go figure, probably Vince McMahon, could even be Triple H. I had a double guitar. I was like, give me a sickest return ever double guitar, like freaking Jimmy Page. But this was away from more heavy metal and stuff. I was like, this thing is gonna be so sick, and then that was stripped, and I'm like, oh well, where's what my gimmick? No, because that was my gimmick. So then after that, it's just like, well, back to square one on the day of TV. Boogs said. Now, I don't know who he did. I can't remember the last time we saw Rick Boogs on television. I think it was like before Vince McMahon left, and we realized it was creative. When Triple H just took over creative in this small scale at the time, he took over creative permanently. I forgot when that was the case. Maybe it was around like 2022 or 2023 at some point. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But honestly, like, if we're not going to lose sleep over Rick Boogs not being a JB anymore, but I think he should have gotten a chance at least to give me see if he got over. Obviously, where it's Vince McMahon and Triple H year one, to say the least, they both didn't really give a shit about that. And when I cut you like no tomorrow six before, I believe I think it was definitely more for a TKO bot to be. I think that's the case for sure. But honestly, like, no one's losing sleep on this, to say at least. I like Rick Boogs as like a metal guitar guy, and I mean, he's the best pro wrestler, but still, I think he's a very good guy, honestly, to say at least. That's my thoughts on this for sure, if you ask me, though. Moving on, so WWE has tasked with shed millions in payroll. The big story, obviously, for today. Fightful Select has published an extensive report on the financial moves that WWE has made over the past several weeks, revealing the scale of the payroll reduction, meshing with the speed with which talent were asked to make life-altering decisions, and the sweeping industry reaction that followed. No shit, obviously. According to Fightful Select, WWE was tasked with shedding millions in dollars in payroll over the last month, and the cuts made over the past few weeks were in direct service of that goal. The timing of those revelations drew immediate backlash across the industry. Gee, you don't say, coincided with disclosures from record high TKO stock prices and dramatic executive pay increases. Most people within the industry who spoke to Fightful acknowledge that releases are an accepted reality of how WWE operates going forward, but the additional ask for talent to take pay cuts in seven figures in many cases was met with heavy criticism and scoffed at internally. No shit. The manner in which deals were presented to talent has also raised serious concerns about how performers negotiate TKO into WWE going forward. Fightful's Sharma Step was told that a number of wrestlers in recent years were approached during overseas dates and about new deals. In some cases, far as earlier than anticipated, extensions would be offered. Some people viewed it just as a tactic to get talent to sign before their representation, can't freaking speak, could fully review the terms, though that was more of an opinion than a confirmed strategy. On the day of mass releases, WWE approached numerous talents when asked about to take pay cuts. I was mentioned that recently. To remain with the company, with several given just 2 days to decide. Of course they work. It's just WWE for you. Don't give it any amount of time. They all care about where you're right then there. Give like 1 or 2 days at tops. Not shocking at all, people. People. The main person to blame here is not just TKO. I don't think they are. They are to blame here to a point, obviously. But the main reason to blame all this with the talents taking pay cuts and no longer be at the company like the New Day, it's all lands in the balls of Triple H. It's his fault. Whereas TKO, basically not to blame. I'm not saying they're totally to blame here too. But the main reason to blame here is Triple H. He could present these guys much better on television, and then maybe TKO would have wanted to keep them. I don't know. If they're making money and stuff, it lands on the ball of Triple H to even give these guys a proper push in the main roster. And he hasn't simply done that. Where guys like the New Day, even though they get a great heel turn Biggie, but dropped the ball in that big time, it's basically kind of coincided not be the company anymore. But this company, man, just continues to be more and more of a laughing stock of the industry. And they're the biggest company in the freaking world of professional wrestling. This is all Triple H's fault. The main reason. I'm not saying TKO has no issues there. They have a lot of issues, obviously, but Triple H is the main reason to blame for all this. All these cuts, all this increase in ticket sales. Man, that's mainly TKO there. I'll give them that, but still. But honestly, this is all lands on Triple H. He could have went back for these people too if it was really TKO, so quote unquote was the main reason to blame here, which I don't think is the case. That'd be Triple H if you ask me. Don't act like this idiot is not the one to blame here, to say at least. He's the main reason to blame here, in all honesty. So that's why you can probably get a New Day in AEW. You can make Kairi Sane maybe in AEW, or maybe you Stardom, to say at least. Maybe one place she wants to do the wins to be on her case. So all Triple H's main reason is all Triple H's fault. Main reason. I'm not saying TKO is not a reason to blame here either. I'm just saying for a sick in general. But Triple H went back for these people, but he decided not to do that because he has an ego to push himself with TKO, to say at least. That's my thoughts on this for sure, if you ask me, though. Moving on, so Hiromu Takahashi is expected to join WWE. A former, I guess he was in a brief moment in AEW appearance on Forbidden Door. I think he can wrestle Kyle Fletcher for a TNT Championship on Forbidden Door, I think, honestly. Hiromu Takahashi's name has been circulating within WWE circles following his debut of his former stablemate in New Japan Pro Wrestling Evil, now known as Nakar, or Naraka, I think is how you say it, is that Naraka? I don't know if I fucking say it, but still. You have to watch NXT. You want to watch NXT, you get the point, obviously, though. According to Body Slam, with word going around the WWE Performance Center is that Takahashi is expected to end up in WWE. Additionally, a separate source indicated that some within the WWE believe Takahashi could use the name Nox Rajing, I think is how you say it, which was originally supposed to be trademarked for a real name for ring intended for Evil. Before WWE has last minute switched to Nakaru ahead of his NXT name, review on Tuesday night. Now, it's just him appearing on NXT is the right thing to do. If he goes right to the main roster, be dead in the water. He's not going to be any. Plus, he probably only gets to basically not even wrestled in AEW before. After Forbidden Door, against Kyle Fletcher for TNT Championship. I get that. So he has some U.S. standard experience, but I feel like he wants to be in a WWE umbrella. He used to start in NXT. Just like what Evil is completely here to say, at least. Just him appearing straight to the main roster be kind of stupid. So I hope that I don't think that's the case, though. Especially Evil being appeared on NXT to say, at least. So if he is in time with WWE, go to NXT Mr. Takahashi, or whatever his name is going to be, honestly, but still. That's my thoughts on this for sure, if you ask me, though. Moving on to Roman Reigns, the reigning defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion for now. Maybe faces losses to title Backlash, I don't know. So ain't found come Saturday night. But Roman Reigns was pulled from WWE Monday Raw in June due to clerical error. Roman Reigns being pulled from the WWE advertised Raw and dates in June was a clerical error on WWE's side. Not to sign contract trouble for friction with the company. The change had drawn questions because Reigns has been listed for the dates that was been quietly removed from the ads, raising speculation about a possible issue with the deal he signed in the run-up to WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. PW Insider reported that the original advertising was the mistake. Reigns had been listed for those dates in error, and the issue was on the TKO and WWE side as to which dates was actually scheduled to work. It was a clerical error. Mike Johnson wrote the report, ruled out any trouble about Roman Reigns, and the company about any issue with his deal. Yeah, but why would he go on a WrestleMania post-show media scrum, or what do they call it, post-show press conference, or it was discussing with Joe Tessitore, that he's going to be a full-time champion? What the fuck kind of shit is this report? Is he just a hypocrite? Roman Reigns could be a hypocrite at times, obviously. I'm not a big fan of him, but still. He can be definitely a hypocrite. I'm an honest fan of him. But, seriously, why would he be advertised for June, just taken off immediately because of clerical error? I don't know about that. Unless there's a change involved in his championship, or maybe he's dropping the title to Jacob Fatu or somewhere in Clash in Italy, maybe? Against Jacob Fatu or none, maybe, but God forbid Solo Sikoa. So God, it's not the case. God, please, no. That would be awful. Maybe facing Fatu at Backlash, so it's weird feelings to face Solo Sikoa at Clash in Italy. They're teasing out to me. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but I'll wait and find out, honestly. I hope to God it's not the case at all. But honestly, I don't think Roman Reigns is going to... To me, I think he's still going to be on television. I think, at least, knock on wood. Here, my freaking, desk there to go out, to say at least. I had to shut some of my door to say at least, and it's my desk. You don't care, honestly, but still. But honestly, Roman Reigns should still be on television, just even before he was a champion or not, honestly. The man is a big star for this company, the biggest star in the company, honestly. At least one of the top 3. So I guess if we can find out Roman Reigns' E&D is on June shows on Monday Raw or not, we can find them to say at least. That's my thoughts on this for sure, if you ask me, though. Moving on to LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight and Gunther's WWE feud has been scrapped. Yeah, no shit. We saw a man appear on Friday Night Smackdown this week. Of course, it would have been scrapped at LA Knight and stuff. The LA Knight and Gunther program is no longer happening. Body Slams Plus Corey Hayes reported that on Tuesday that night had been penciled in a short program with Gunther. coming out of WWE WrestleMania 42. Those plans were scrapped when WWE pivoted Gunther into feud with undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes on Friday Night SmackDown. Which makes obviously no sense, and I stated that in the SmackDown review, obviously. How a champion from a competitor from SmackDown can compete for a world champion on Raw, and a competitor from Raw can compete for a world champion on SmackDown. Fucking stupidity, if you ask me. But honestly, like, no one's gonna lose sleep over an LA Knight and Gunther feud not happening, people. Like, honestly, I don't know what LA Knight's gonna be doing after that. He barely appeared on WrestleMania. He was listening for a 6-man tag match at Ice Show Speed and the Visions, Logan Paul and Austin Theory. He not even made the card to use those. He not even made the freaking card. Because honestly, they have no plans for y'all. That basically tells me that right then that 6-man tag match, they basically have no plans for LA Knight. And that is freaking sad. That is freaking sad, bro. The dude is over with the shit with the crowd. Steven still does bad booking and shit. He's still over with the freaking crowd like top notch. He might not be the best pound for pound wrestling. He cuts very good promos and stuff. I'm not saying he's the best pro wrestler on the roster, but at least get this man a freaking pencil something in for him. But the crowd, he's so over with the crowd as a babyface. I don't know, man. I don't know what Triple H is going to do. I don't want to trust that man anymore, man. I don't trust him whatsoever. And Jimmy Hardly had to trust him from NXT Black and Gold, honestly, to a point. They didn't trust him much there anyways. Honestly, no one's going to sleep over Gunther and LA Knight feud being scrapped and anything, but I guess you want to know about this. There's your report that LA Knight fans and Gunther fans, honestly, to a point. You know, you're probably throwing a parade, you're probably going to lose to Cody Rhodes probably again, to say at least. That's my thoughts on this for sure, if you ask me, though. And finally, everyone, for your LimitsCenter podcast on YouTube, Lucas Eon 1018, and all audio platforms, Lucas Eon Show. Your LimitsCenter podcast, May 6, 2026. Backstage news and a lovely Blake Monroe, the former Mariah May in AEW, former NXT North American champion as well, expected to make her Friday Night SmackDown debut. Blake Monroe's WWE Friday Night SmackDown debut is getting closer, with PW Insider reporting that the expectation internally is that she will begin to appear on the show in the end of May. Though that timeline is subject to change, obviously with Triple H and stuff like Triple H and his lack of creative, if you ask me to. But I hope Blake is Blake on television right now. She'll instantly, just like JCJ, make this division so much freaking better. I'm not saying the SmackDown Women's division is perfect, but you got 2 champions right now. Ripley and Tiffany Stratton is pretty good. For your world champion and mid-card champion, too. Then you got JC feuding with Rhea Ripley. I think it's a very good first component for Rhea Ripley coming out of WrestleMania as to being Jade Cargill. And Blake Monroe being a champion would probably be an competitor for that championship eventually, too. Wouldn't mind that at all. Say it's a Ripley and Blake Monroe match, probably for even Clash in Italy. If not JC wrestles Rhea Ripley beforehand. I don't know about that. I don't know, honestly, but still. But Blake Monroe is freaking money, bro. She is freaking money. She's freaking great. She's a great pro wrestler. Pretty good promos. She's basically a total package, and honestly, a gorgeous woman on top of that as well. Not really a blonde fan, but still, Blake Monroe is definitely an exception when it comes to me, obviously. You know about that, obviously. Humongous Blake Monroe fan here, to say the least. I can't wait to see what she does on Friday Night SmackDown, to say the least. I wish she was an NXT North Women's Champion at one point, but still, that's obviously not happening at all. But she could probably be used more on SmackDown than NXT, honestly, but still. To wrap up your LimitsCenter podcast, your Wednesday, May 6th of 2026, to say the least. As always, thank you all for watching. Lucas E. Allen 1018 on YouTube and all audio platforms, Lucas E. Allen Show. With your latest edition of LimitsCenter for your Wednesday, May 6th of 2026 day, to say the least. And as always, I'm probably hopefully, knock on wood, knock on my desk, my mini desk heroes again. Then shut a door this time, though, honestly. I have one more podcast say at some point. I don't know what it'll be yet, but still. Obviously, I'm not reviewing NXT, obviously. I'll review that standard show. My PLEs and stuff, but not really their regular standard television shows at all. I'll let you know on Twitter, Lucas C. Allen. I mean, it's not Lucas C. Allen. We'll basically say he's X-Star, so I'll let you know when the next podcast will be today, hopefully. I'm trying to hope that I do that, to say at least. If not, see y'all tomorrow at your AEW Dynamite. May 6th, 2026, you'll probably like 10 minutes. I guarantee it, knock on wood. With the way the freaking Dynamite just match after match after match after match. Going into Double or Nothing too, ladies and gentlemen. Go to good old professional wrestling 2026 for June in a nutshell. As always, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Take care. Love y'all big time to say at least.